This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to video 2 in our series on pitfalls made by beginning counselors. We're going to take a look in this video of Mary counseling Rosemarie, and we should be a little familiar with Rosemarie by now. She was in our prior counseling session with Angela, the clinician, right? And if we recall correctly, in that particular vignette that we watched, there was a little issue with over questioning, right, in an effort to be solution focused, like we said. But ultimately, what happened there, right? We saw that there was a little bit too much advice giving, and that caused a great deal of frustration for Rosemarie, the client. So let's take a look now at how Mary does with this same client, and let's be mindful of how her approach is differing, and also how we think this is impacting the client.
Hello. Hello. What would you like to talk about today? I have feelings of inadequacy. I decided to return to college, and I planned on this for many, many years, and was absolutely thrilled to finally realize a dream. I'm at a site that is giving me quite a bit of problems. I'm not getting the support that I thought I would get. I've had 3 supervisors, and with one of them, the paperwork wasn't returned to me, and all of a sudden I had all this paperwork and didn't know what to do with it. She was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed, and I just couldn't. It backfired. I couldn't grasp it. My feelings inadequacy seemed to be transmitted to her. Her frustrations seemed to be transmitted to me. And it just went back and forth. The previous supervisor I had, the first one, was very supportive. And I did well with her. But with this one, it's a serious problem. It's not supported. Not supported. By the same token, the paperwork that I would send in got lost. Gifts got lost, which wasn't my fault, and it just triggered something in me. And since my husband is disintegrating. He's just guilty. Very much so. Very much so. That's a good way of putting it. Very fearful. Mm-hmm.
An accurate reflection of feeling, right?
I want to do something to get over this because I'm determined to stay in the program and to complete my education and go on with what I want to do. Very anxious that you're not going to meet your goals. Yes. Yes. I planned on this so many years, and here and something's happening, and I don't know how to handle it. Very much so. Not a little out of control. I feel out of control. And in the work I did, I wasn't like that. I handled very stressful situations and was very capable of handling them. Can't seem to grasp it. And I'm not getting any support at the agency, which doesn't help. I also am not getting any support from my family. And when I talk to my family about what I'm doing, because my world has shrunk to going to school, my brother and sisters do not want to hear about my activities at school. Don't talk about that. I'm not interested in that. I feel like a burden. Very difficult. I feel as if I'm hanging in the wind. I feel fragile. good way of putting it. Very fragile. And I'm not accustomed to feeling fragile. It's very new to me. I'm not accustomed to feeling inadequate. And I just don't know what to do.
You feel confused what to do with all these new feelings.
Yes. Yes. I usually handle things in my life. The only way I was able to retire, to put my son through school, to get to the point I am at this time in my life. Now what's happening? Yes, I feel stuck. And I don't know how to get out of it.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Mary talking to her supervisor about how that session went.
Hi.
Hi.
So how was that session for you?
I felt that it went really well. The client seemed to be open about her feelings and expressed her pain.
Mm-hmm. As if maybe she felt comfortable so that you could get more information from her.
Yeah, she seemed to be a little bit anxious at first, but as the session went on, it seemed like she became more comfortable and was very open to expressing her feelings.
Mm-hmm. You appreciated her openness.
Yes. She was willing to talk about several different issues and got into a lot of deep feelings.
Mm-hmm. You sound almost surprised that she was able to express those deeper feelings.
Yeah, it was surprising to me that how quickly we got to those feelings. Just started off talking about, school and things like that, but went more into depth about her family and not feeling supported by different people, and got there rather quickly. So
you feel like the session went well?
yeah, I think that it went well. I think that I understood her. I can understand where she was coming from, and she seemed to be open, which was good.
Mm-hmm. You had a sense that the relationship was strong enough for her to express herself well and be honest with you.
She seemed confident in expressing how she felt, and seemed relieved that I understood where she was coming from, and surprised that I understood where she was coming from.
I almost hear that perhaps this is a new experience for her to finally be heard and understood.
That's what it seemed like, that she was so surprised at the accuracy of what my perception of her feelings were.
Is there anything you would do differently?
I think that if we had more time, I would explore more of what her feelings of inadequacy mean to her personally. Get more into a little bit about that.
Okay, you would have wanted to explore a little more depth. You think she'll come back?
I think she will. Pretty confident that she will.
Good. So, is there anything else you'd like to add about the session?
Just that I felt very pleased that she was able to do some work right away and touch on some deep feelings.
So it went very well for you.
I think it went well.
Great. Well, I appreciate you doing this with us today.
Thank you.
Now we're going to take a look and see how Rosemarie reacted to the session.
Hi. Hi. So, how was this session compared to previous?
Like night and day. This therapist understood where I was coming from. I felt very comfortable with her. I felt I could express my feelings. And she knew where I was coming from. And I felt relaxed. And in that, I could say more. I could express myself.
Sounds like in this session you were able to go into a direction that you wanted to go. And more importantly, unlike the whole thing that you're talking about, you felt heard and understood, cared for.
Yes, heard, and understood. And it's very frustrating when you're not understood. You're trying to say it. No one understands what you're talking about.
It sounds to me just by her really listening to you and understanding your situation has somehow built confidence for you. You feel more confident.
Yes. I feel the old confidence is coming back again.
And I think ultimately another substitute word for confidence can be she feels like wholeheartedly validated, right? It's extremely validating when you tell somebody what you're going through and they say, oh my gosh, like, I understand, like, you must be feeling like this. This must have you feeling this way, right? And that's precisely what happened. And she's conveying here that this was an adequate reflection of feeling, right? And that the counselor really did convey a deep understanding and that she felt heard. Again, something that's really paramount, right? If people aren't being heard in other life domains, you know, at work they're not heard, at home they're not heard, in their relationship with their partners they're not heard, we certainly want them to feel heard in counseling, right?
Slowly but surely, I feel it is coming back again. And it's such a good feeling.
You also seem a little surprised that just after a few minutes that you feel so much better.
Yes. If someone had mentioned this to me before I was in this section, I would have thought they were crazy. But I do. As I said before, it's like a weight is off my shoulders or off of me. And I want to pursue this. I want to go on with this. So I will make another appointment with her.
You're going to see her again.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
I'm very fortunate to have found her.
You feel lucky.
That's why
I'm
we want
glad
our clients
this
to
went
feel
very well
right.
for you, and I really appreciate you doing this with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time, guys.